your brain on air. The program will begin shortly. Enjoy. Você está ouvindo seu cérebro no ar. O programa começará em breve. Aproveite.
Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome to Your Brain on Air. I am your host, Ollie Volt Larson. And drink your white monster, Josiah. Agartha needs you. We've got a busy one, folks. Happy Monday. I'm so pleased to be with you today. It's a wonderful, gloomy, we're entering the winter months. It's on the precipice of November. Doesn't that feel good? Doesn't that kind of chill in the air? It's waking you up in the morning. It's nice. Folks, it's a busy day. We got some news stories to cover that I want to just hop into with you. So without any further ado, let's stop lollygagging. Because guys, I wanna hop into this first story because I feel as though if you're a sports head, you might get something out of this. Adrian Peterson arrested in Texas in second driving under the influence case of the year. If you grew up, or if you were around in the 2007 to 2016 period of the Vikings, you will fondly remember your parents glazing the shit out of this fella. Adrian Peterson, the 40-year-old former NFL MVP and one of the greatest running backs in league history, was arrested early Sunday morning, October 26, 2025, in Sugar Land, Texas, on charges of driving while intoxicated, DWI, and unlawfully carrying a weapon. Whoa! Police pulled him over in his hometown area, where he now lives, and discovered a firearm during the stop, leading to an additional charge. He was booked in Fort Bend County Jail around 9:30 a.m., spent the night in custody, and was scheduled for a magistrate hearing on Monday morning. We're right here, after which he could post bond and be released. No blood alcohol level has been released for this incident. The Peterson's second DWI. This is his second DWI arrest in 2025. His first coming in April in Minnesota, where he was caught speeding at 83 miles an hour in a 55 miles per hour zone with a BAC of 0.14. Fellas, if you don't know much about drinking, this is an expert. This is like a fella who I could only wish to be as skilled as this gentleman. He is going out there. This is, by the way, never mind. In the sense of skilled, he obviously isn't that skilled if he's going that speed. The times that I've driven drunk, or the times that I've driven under the influence, I've followed the speed limit. I've never gotten pulled over under the influence. I've always been able to do this incredibly well. He is the one coming out here, like many like to say, and he's ruining the reputation for a lot of, drunk drivers. This fucker's going out there ruining all of our reputation. We got to stop this man. Nearly twice the legal limit, by the way, 0.14. That case is still pending. A Palestine, Texas native and University of Oklahoma star, Peterson rushed for nearly 15,000 yards over his 15-year NFL career, mostly with the Minnesota Vikings, earning MVP honors in 2012. However, his post-career life has been marked by legal and personal struggles, including a 2014 child injury case pleaded to misdemeanor reckless assault, and a 2022 domestic violence arrest with no charges filed, a 2023 airport incident where felony domestic violent charges were dropped, and 2024 court order to surrender assets over $12 million because of debt. Peterson has not made a public statement about the latest arrest, and no response has come from his representatives or former teammates. I would keep a little quiet. I'm going to be honest with you. Fellas, if you're a Vikings fan, you're known as being hopeful. You're known as having like a childlike sense of wonder. My grandpa still has this childlike sense of wonder. He hopes that he will see the Super Bowl, us make it to the Super Bowl again. He hopes that he will see that before he dies. Regrettably, I don't know that that'll ever be the case. You know what I mean? We gotta accept the fact that the Vikings are always they're the biggest lame duck team in the entire league. They are the interesting part of bad, where they are so average. They are so they have those glimmering, shiny moments like the Minneapolis Miracle, all of those things that just make us have that glimmer of hope in our eyes before it's quickly snatched away by reality. Vikings fans are very much so so bad that they're not even good. They're just bad. They're completely average. And you'll still see people like creaming their jeans every time we get a new pick every season. They're like, oh man, this is the one, guys. This is the one. You know, that's called being hopeful. And I love the fact that Minnesotans have that kind of hope. But, you know, I don't know. I'm just going to be honest with you. I never see it happening. The news spread quickly on social media with fans expressing sadness and concern over his repeating legal issues of a once celebrated athlete. As of October 27th, today, the case is still ongoing. The further details may emerge from court proceedings. Let's play a clip. Honestly, I think that you guys might get more out of KARE 11 News.
Peterson was arrested this morning around 9:30 a.m. in a Houston suburb. Police say that he was taken into custody for driving under the influence and for unlawfully carrying a weapon. Court documents aren't available yet, but jail records did confirm his arrest. This is his second DUI in 6 months. He was arrested the morning after the Vikings draft party, actually, back in April. Peterson, of course, was a star running back for the Vikings from 2007 until 2016. Yep. This is a story we're going to continue to follow. Back to you.
Folks, you can't day drink if you don't start in the morning. I've been drinking since I was 14. I know what I'm saying. Not cancer levels of drinking. Christ. Kids these days, I'm not even going to lie to you, they have no class. They'll straight black out in front of you. Grow up. If you're still drinking at like 40, what are you doing? Like, bitch, that's cancer. Alky is literally, it's to steal from your parents at like 10 and to replace with, like, you steal your parents' bottle of vodka and you replace it with water because you don't realize that that's a dead giveaway. Get a bit of a buzz, feel like, feel like I'm cool, I'm breaking the rules a little bit. And then maybe if you're extra childish, you go out and drink in your 20s and we're all fun, we're going to hang out at a bar or whatever, like whatever people get out of that weird experience. And by 30, the hell are you doing, Gramps? Go home, honestly. This guy doesn't realize that he's just old and that his time is past. I'm sorry. I had a lovely, interesting conversation this weekend about what I consider to be old. Generally, that's tended to shift. When I was a kid, it used to be around the 60 crowd. I was like, yeah, that's my grandparents. That's my parents' parents. You know what I mean? The generation that's kind of getting left behind by society. I thought that 60 was around where you started to turn old. Now, as I'm getting into my 20s, I'm like, okay, 60-year-olds, they can be sharp, they can be with it sometimes. 70s, sure. 70s I can really see as like the older, but obviously it's going to keep going. It's going to keep shifting. You know what I mean? Eventually that breaks down and nothing is old to you anymore. Anyways, Adrian Peterson, best wishes to you. Adam Thielen, we still have that, Minnesota Vikings. You have that to be proud of. He's from my hometown, I believe. Adam Thielen. I hope to be the most famous motherfucker from Detroit Lakes eventually one day. I'm just going to be honest with you. When I go back to that town and I run for mayor, it's going to be like Huey Long. I'm not going to leave power. I hope they realize that. DL, I will be your forever mayor if you elect me. This is no exaggeration. Anyways, so sad for Adrian Peterson. Best of luck to you in your DWI. I haven't heard my parents glaze you in a while, so I'm guessing that you're not doing very much. You're not that hot of a shot. You're no Jared Allen. You know what I mean? Whatever. I think that we should take a break for an ad. Best of luck to you, Adam Thielen. I hope things go well for you. I actually have a sponsorship that might come in handy for you. I think we're just going to hop into it. Folks, DWI and DUI charges are on the rise, especially in the 20 to 31 age range. It's just statistics. No one our age is really going to be the DD if they're selected by the group. We see you slipping pen hits in between sips of water. Let's just do what our parents did when they needed someone to drive them around after a couple of beers and have kids. That's right, people. Having children and waiting 15 years for them to receive a permit is your one-way ticket to a permanent DD. Why force adults to act like adults when you can have your kids walk you to bed after night after a long guzzle? Folks, from Gen X to boomers and now millennials, this technique has worked for generations. Go to your bedroom and enter promo code YBOA for 50% off your first designated driver, baby. That's code YBOA to get started today. You can have your own personal valet as soon as 2040. Anyways, fun, people. There you go. If you start now, 15 years from now, 2040, you can have your own DD. There you go. Whatever. We got another story that we can hop into. A gentleman in Minneapolis is attempting to start an encampment. The city is responding swiftly. So there's people are trying to get involved down in the city. They're realizing that Mayor Jacob Fry has abandoned them. They're realizing that Hennepin County is not coming to save them. They're realizing that after the third district police department fell back in the riot days, people have realized that there's no actual sense of order in that town. There's nobody laying down the law. So people, as a result, you see this in San Francisco, you see this in other areas of the country, you see this where people who have been abandoned, unfortunately, by mostly Democratic policies and government, regrettably, and this, I'm not saying this because I'm like, oh, big Republican cities are doing so great, and most of the time they aren't. Most of the time they aren't. At least Democratic cities have money. But that's just a fact, is that they don't take decent care of their citizens most of the time. And when they have to deal with these types of homeless encampments, they don't do anything meaningful about it because, regrettably, Democrats have been suckered in, for the most part, into believing this lie that the majority of them are transitionary, they don't want to be homeless, or that they're not doing it because they're drug addicts when, and let's get honest here, people, 95%, and I will say this every time, are people with a mental illness who refuse to get help for it. It's not that they can't get help for it, it's that the resources are there in these cities and they refuse to. They would prefer to stay on the streets. They would prefer to stay in open air drug markets. And many people refuse to acknowledge that. Many people in these cities will go, well, then we need mental health outreach programs. And I'm like, well, really what you need to do is get them off the streets. You can't have people on the streets in a decent society. And this is where this leans into the grander debate around like, oh, hostile architecture. What is the city doing, making sure that people can't sleep on their benches? The fuck would you rather we do? Are you saying you'd prefer that they have somewhere to sleep on public property where people are supposed to go wait for buses? You'd rather that be the situation? Great, that's great. If you want to live in a fantasy land where you can open your home to people, Actually, if you want your town to like invest in major programs for druggies, like encampment programs where we can, build them housing first, like that freak Omar Fateh in Minneapolis is trying to do. You can fund that, absolutely, but you don't make the rest of your town go down with you. Open up your house to the druggies and the criminals. Do that. Wouldn't you rather be the person that you claim to be, which is this caring, sympathetic person where the sympathy and empathy leads all of your policies? Then open your doors. I'm sorry, but if you're that sympathetic of a person, open your doors, because the rest of the society, the rest of the town, the rest of the people, they're funding soup kitchens, they're funding mental health outreach programs, and it's not working. It's not working because, regrettably, for the most part, homelessness is a choice. Anyways, this is something that we got to address. We got to get real about people, otherwise we can never make meaningful policy. In July to August of 2025, this gentleman publicly announced that he would allow homeless people to encamp on his commercial parking lots at East Lake Street and 28th Avenue South in Minneapolis. Shitty area. Don't even worry about it. You're not losing much. Up to 45 people reportedly lived there. He said he took this step because he believed the city's bureaucratic approach was failing unhoused people, and that offering them a place to stay would give them dignity and some stability. Yes, somewhere where they can abuse drugs together and you give them Narcan, just in case. Just in case. You know what I mean? Instead of letting nature take its course. Alrighty.
The man at the center of an encampment dispute with the city of Minneapolis just opened a temporary outreach hub for people who are homeless. It's at the intersection of 28th and East Lake Street. Hamoudi Sabri says this is a temporary spot for people to access hygiene stations, including portable bathrooms, hand washing stations, and hygiene items. He says they can also safely connect with outreach managers there. Sabri was recently served with a restraining order forbidding unsheltered people from camping in a makeshift encampment built on his property in that same area. A city spokesperson sent us a statement after the opening of the hub, saying, quote, Mr. Sabri has failed to obtain any of the necessary permits or land use approvals required for his proposed use of the property.
So it's illegal. Listen, a lot of people will go, whoa, bureaucratic, shh. It's not working. It's not working. These 40 people that were living here, do you think they got jobs in that meantime? Do you think that they meaningfully contributed to society besides sitting outside of a Walmart with a piece of cardboard? Do you really think that these people are out there building anything of themselves during the time where they're being given everything hand over foot? They're like, yep, come sleep here, come do all of this. Folks, when people struggle, they either flounder and die, or they make something of themselves in this world. And I regrettably, I don't believe that we're doing that enough. I don't believe we're letting the flounder people, the people who are feckless, the people in this society who don't contribute, the people in this society who on a grander scale provide nothing to the world. Back in the day where we had no welfare system, we had nothing along those lines, we used to let those people be the vagrants of society, and we used to allow them to fall to the waysides. Now this new outreach program where we have to give them all free public buses where they can go sit behind you. That person who did not pay to support the public city bus that they are allowed to use for free is going to sit behind you, and then they're going to stab you in the neck, just like that one Ukrainian woman. She was an immigrant and she wasn't even safe. Folks, I want us to get real over this, and regrettably, what Minneapolis and a lot of Democratic-run cities refuse to do is get real. People will look at Minneapolis right now and they'll say they're being the big bully. I will say that more cities need to do this. More cities need to. More cities need to let you know that you cannot be doing this sort of nonsense. We cannot create an environment where these homeless people are an endangered species, and we need to save them. We need to save them by giving them somewhere to lay on the streets. We need to save them by not kicking them out and going, nope, you can't sleep here. Sorry. This empathy first shit has not worked ever since people have started trying it. I'm sorry. Go to church. You know what I mean? Go to church and get soup. Go to church and go... by the way, you'll hear the homeless people, they'll go, I don't go to those homeless encampment places because people steal. I'm like, what do they have to steal? What do you have to steal? Go lay down, go rest, go work in the morning. That's not that hard.
Should he continue with unpermitted use of the property, the city will follow standard procedures for such violations.
Bulldoze it. Bulldoze the entire encampment. I don't want to see it. I'm sorry. If I come down there, Minneapolis, and you're running like if the people of Minneapolis have to take it into their own hands and start saving these people, if the police will not do anything, if the actual government won't do anything, Minneapolis, I'm sorry, I can't visit anymore. I mean, to be fair, I haven't wanted to in the longest time. The last time I went down there, someone went around shooting a bunch of Congress people. So let me just be honest with you. Minnesota does not have a great reputation right now. Their government is embroiled in fraud. If you regrettably, it is the most politically uninformed people. I will bring up, these sorts of policies to people, and they'll call me cruel. And I will go, okay, then, well, tell me who the governor is. And they will look at you blank-faced. These people have these strong opinions of empathy first, about how you knowing facts and knowing statistics, and you knowing that our outreach programs don't actually do anything, you knowing that is a threat to them wanting to waste money. You knowing that is a threat to the soup kitchen that is a waste of money. You knowing that is a threat to all of these drug abuse centers where people can go do drugs and then have overseeing. They bring their own drugs. It's literally it's the drug resistance centers and such. This is not fantasy. This is not out there. These are real policies that are being tried in cities that are making the communities worse. And when John Oliver does a testimonial going, these programs are working. They are really signs that they are making the community a much safer area to live in. Do you know who his testimonial is for that? It's the drug abuser behind the curtain, literally like the Wizard of Oz. His name was Oz in the program they used. Oz is known as a charlatan who only does anything to benefit himself. That's exactly who he's taking the testimonial from. I'm sorry. It's just like the prostitution thing that he did, where he was like, oh yeah, let's listen to the prostitutes on how we need to deal with prostitution. Oh, let's listen to the criminals? Let's listen to the criminals on how we need to deal with this criminal institution. I'm still in favor of legalizing prostitution. If you want to go whore yourself out, I really don't care. I honestly don't think that we need anything to restrict you from that. We need something to restrict sex trafficking. That's what we need to be targeting. But when I'm saying, people are like, oh, yeah, you can't, prostitution legal is gonna make homelessness legal, make all of this legal. Why not? Why not? There's nothing. Run a whorehouse if you really want to. Harlots is a good TV show. Make it real. Oh my God, that was one of the funniest things. Is that like when I was about to fly to Las Vegas, one of these guys in our group was like, "Yeah, let's go to the fucking the Harlot House," and I'm like, "What? All right, cool." Weird thing to say. The city of Minneapolis has declared the site as a public health nuisance, citing multiple violations including drug paraphernalia, hazardous waste, no proper sanitation or water access, open fires, unsafe structures, and junk accumulation. CBS News. Folks, the city issued notices and fines on the order of around $15,000 in September, and in September filed a lawsuit against Sabri, and obtained a temporary restraining order preventing him from allowing further encampments on his properties. Good! A mass shooting at the encampment also, at least 8 people shot, 1 fatality, helped precipitate the city's decision to clear it. Sabri disputes the city's characterization, calling the action political theater, and insists his motivation is purely humanitarian. Folks, you're giving these people a place to shoot up and shoot each other. Can we please acknowledge the fact that most of these people are not the sympathetic, people in a doldrum or whatever. Most of these people are violent criminals, and they need to be stopped. I'm sorry. Reagan was a little bit right in some extent where he goes, homelessness to a vast degree can be a choice. And once again, John Oliver goes, well, that's a dickish Republican policy. I'm like, okay, well, do you actually have a reason that he's wrong? And then he provides no counter argument. Folks, welcome to the rapid fire of today's headlines. I do this every episode. We just grab the 10 biggest headlines and then we tell you about them because honestly, it's what's going on in the world, and you need to keep your media bubble out there. Otherwise, you're going to be one of these people. You need to be one of these people that's taking in as much information as possible, because then if not, you will be one of these people that just goes, empathy first, send another million of my tax dollars to the homelessness encampment. Send another trillion. You know, you cannot fall into the humdrum of Democrats are always right. Yes, Democrats, empathy first, this, blah, blah, blah. You got to have a bit of the Republican, self-choice matters. I thought the Democrats also valued that, but in general, with the race politics, all of those sorts of things, it's not nearly as common as you'd like it to be. But I think that that's something, if the Democrats would like to win more elections, we got to reclaim a little bit. Personal responsibility, agency, not blaming everything on isms, racism, homophobia, sexism. Stop. The gender gap is not real anymore. When it comes to the pay gap, that's non-existent anymore. It's literally fake. And if you want to talk to anybody about statistics, mention Asian Americans, and every argument of white supremacy will be thrown out the window, because Asian Americans are dramatically more successful than white Americans. But nobody who wants to talk race statistics or white privilege wants to mention that. Anyways, Israel accused of violating Gaza ceasefire with fresh airstrikes. Israeli forces launched attacks on Gaza despite the ongoing truce with Hamas. Fucking jeez, BB. Striking near displaced persons camps in Gaza and killing several citizens, prompting accusations of undermining peace efforts. BB, please, my BB sitter, I don't need you to be firing rockets anymore. You took out Iran's nuclear program that they were like a day from having a nuclear device. You know what I mean? You stopped them. You saved us. Thank you. Whatever. That's all that we need to know. I hope that this doesn't erupt more shit. There's already been around 40 violations from both sides, so let's just be honest, guys. This is just par for the course. The Middle East will always be this kind of a I don't like you, you don't like me, bang bang. It's a very Wild West energy. Violent protests erupt in the Cameroon ahead of contested election results. Demonstrators turned deadly in multiple cities as opposition supporters clashed with security forces over alleged fraud in the presidential vote, with at least 5 fatalities reported and calls for an international convention. The Cameroon it's not doing too hot. They've had a few revolutions over the last few years, but over the last few decades. It's always going to be kind of one of those countries that's on a no-fly list. So I don't, if you're not interested in seeing the cradle of humanity or anything, where all humans originate in Africa, all of those sorts of things, the Cameroon won't interest you anyways, unless you're looking to find the dinosaur or whatever that Vice News reported existed back in the 90s. Anyways. Thailand and Cambodia sign expanded ceasefire deal brokered by Trump. The two nations formalized a border truce during an ASEAN summit meeting in Malaysia, attended by U.S. President Donald Trump, aiming to end decades of territorial disputes and boost regional trade. Good, you know what I mean? Good. You got to give Donald Trump one thing. He's not great on his rhetoric, but damn, he's a businessman. There's no other person, no other president that got Middle East deals done the way that he did, at least in my lifetime. Most people don't want to talk about that honestly, but it's true. Bill Clinton was the last one to make any meaningful deals in that area. But anyways, Alberta teachers strike begins, disrupting education for 700,000 students. Over 51,000 educators walked off the job in Canada's Alberta province, demanding better pay and conditions, leading to school closures and widespread rallies in support of the union. Good for the teachers. I've never been in favor of, let me be honest with you. I've never been in favor of school boards getting a lot of money. I've never been in favor of principals getting a lot of money. The high school director at the high school that I went to, this guy who was literally the principal for every year that I went to school there, he got in trouble for embezzling money. I'm not going to say who it is, but if you know who, and you know exactly who I'm talking about. This guy was a smarmy, slimy asshole. He spoke at our graduation and he mumbled through it because he was drunk. He was like half in a bag right there. I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of the school administrators are the ones getting the money. Your teachers are getting fucked over. I see, if you go park outside of the liquor commission, the LC, the liquor store in my hometown, you will see in a line every single teacher at 4:30 roughly, because that's when they all get off and they're done signing papers and dumb shit. They all head there like a fucking herd of geese, and they all buy big cases of Busch, big cases of Keystone, and they go home and they drink themselves silly because, admittedly, you know what I mean? It's tough being a teacher and you get paid garbage. I'm sorry, that's just factually true. And I'm not just from what I've heard on the internet. Teachers will tell you this. Teachers will tell you they don't get paid enough. It's factually accurate and true. And people wonder why their kids are so stupid. Public education is a fucking mess nowadays. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm talking to more people that are my age that are looking at having kids within the next 10 or so years, and they're like, yeah, homeschool all the way. The public school system is an absolute failure. And admittedly, that is just a fact. That is a factually accurate statement. You know what I mean? In regards to, you want school vouchers, by the way. If you want to talk about the school system being a wreck, you want school vouchers so that people can leave the school districts that are failing, because then you will actually have a level of parental choice. I'm absolutely in favor of that, because there is a degree of people are not abandoning bad areas enough. If towns are just shit, let them die. Let them die, folks. Let me be honest with you. India's election commission announces nationwide voter list revision. Phase 2 of special intensive revision will cover 12 states and union territories ahead of the 2026 polls, focusing on adding young voters and removing duplicates to ensure electoral accuracy. If you guys don't know anything about the Indian election or anything like that, it is one of the most intensive to put on. It is over 1 billion people in that country, if we shouldn't forget. Modi and all that, they're big politicians that you got to keep an eye on and whatnot. I'm curious where they're going to go. I'm guessing it's going to be kind of the same outcome as the last few elections. Not much change in those other countries. I'm going to be honest with you. Supreme Court of India adjourns bail hearings for the 2020 Delhi riots. The court delayed decisions on pleas from activist Sharjim Amim, Umar Khalid, and others on October 31st amid debates over until October 31st amid debates over evidence in larger conspiracy case linked to communal violence. Best of luck to those folks. Whatever. Typhoon Halong makes landfall in Japan, killing one and forcing evacuations. The powerful storm hit the Izu Islands, causing widespread flooding and power outages in Kanagawa Prefecture. Excuse me. I'm fucking too American. Kanagawa. I sound like fucking Joe Biden. Kanagawa Prefecture, with hundreds rescued and warnings issued for further intensification. Good for Japan. I hope that the typhoon goes better for you. Have you ever noticed that the hurricane and typhoon are the exact same thing? Just different areas of different regions of the world. People call it different things. All right, whatever. Delhi records the coldest October night in 2 years at 17 Celsius. Unseasonally chill. It grips the capital with fog reducing visibility and prompting health alerts for vulnerable groups, while authorities prepare for potential disruptions to air and rail travel. Sucks. That's unfortunate. I'm glad that we're not listen. I'm glad that we're not reliant on rail and air travel. I love Americans. I love how much we hate sitting on the bus with each other. I love the independence that the car brings. I think that it's a unique vision in the world. Not many places have that. You know what I mean? As long as I live, I will never ride public transport. I hate public transport so much. Anything that makes me feel like I'm a part of a community, I hate it. It's ridiculous. I hate walkable cities. Exactly. I hate the idea of like being able to get anywhere without a car. That's ridiculous to me. You mean to tell me that you don't want to pay insurance every month? You mean to tell me that you don't want to pay off I don't know, a Toyota or something and hold on to it for like 10 years and then sell it to some teenager who it'll break on instantly? You know what I mean? You don't want to get involved in that market? That's fine. But then enjoy, what's it called? Sitting next to, actual people, making human connections. Ugh. I'd rather sit in my fucking huge 2-ton thing and listen to Norah Jones. Well, I don't know. That's, whatever. French Prime Minister Sébastien Lecornu resigns after just 27 days in office. Lecornu stepped down amid political crises, citing irreconcilable differences with the president, triggering speculation about snap election and shifts in France's coalition government. Good for them. He's having a better time. Even though the prime minister had to resign, he's still having a better time than Emmanuel Macron. If you don't know anything about Brigitte Macron, why not go get into Candace Owens right now? And for our final story, it does involve a Frenchman. It does involve a silly little Frenchman. Katy Perry and Justin Trudeau are confirmed to be dating. Oh my God! Two people that nobody's talked about since the 2010s. They're perfect. They're perfect for each other. Katy Perry, you're old. Justin Trudeau, you're old. You're lame and you're unk. You're chopped. That's that. This next one is a strange one. Folks, I'm going to move into the third story because I wanted to talk about it. Why not? It's our last one for the day, and I think that it's important. This is a strange story many people are unaware is real due to the amount of smoke screening there's been ever since the 2020 election. In April 2019, a laptop widely believed to belong to Hunter Biden was left at a computer repair shop in Delaware and was never retrieved. The shop owner eventually turned it over to the FBI, and copies of the data later circulated publicly, leading to the New York Post's 2020 reports. Independent forensic reviews by outlets such as CBS and the Washington Post found that much of the data appeared to be authentic and tied to Hunter Biden's accounts. Though the chain of custody was compromised because the dive had been handled by multiple people and investigators had examined it and whatnot, the verified materials included emails, contracts, and messages showing Hunter Biden's business relationships with Ukraine and Russia, alongside evidence of drug addiction and personal misconduct in relation to sticking guns into the sides of hookers' heads. You know what I mean? Smoking crack, leaving cocaine in the White House. However, I would love to bring this up because a lot of the people who are Biden heads, I still don't know how many of them there are, will come at you the moment you bring it up and they'll go, "What does this have to do with anything?" Well, I will speak for myself. If Don Jr. was doing half the shit that Hunter Biden was doing, I feel as though it would be deeply important to talk about. Don't you feel as though the president's son performing these nefarious acts, quite frankly? By the way, Hunter Biden, if you don't know anything about the Biden family, Beau Biden was the decent one who went and died, he went and died of brain cancer, you know what I mean? The good one who went and was a war hero, went and could have become president if he wanted. He didn't smoke crack, didn't fuck up his life. He's the one who dies. He's the one who dies young, and then Biden gets stuck with the junkie for a son. Listen, Trump's kids are too straight-laced for this in the sense where they're losers. You look at these people and you're like, they don't get invited to parties. They're yuppies that nobody actually enjoys being around. The daughter has just this Slovenian cunt face that she got from her Eastern European mom. Like, and if you talk about his other daughter, Tiffany, nobody understands her. She's got the fake smile and the big tits that everybody likes to talk about. She's off on a fucking yacht in Miami, as far as we all know. But Don Jr. and Eric, those little weirdos, if they were off in, I don't know, Finland, if they were off in Suomi, in Helsinki, doing these types of things, going to whorehouses, doing business deals and whatnot, especially ones that where you are literally on the phone with your father and he is going like, you're going, I got the big man here if you don't do what I want. Like, listen, no personal evidence has ever been found that has found that Joe Biden participated in his son's dealings or benefited from them. That is not at all what I'm trying to accuse him of. That's not at all what I'm trying to bring this up for. Biden, I'm sure, was just a daddy who was like, man, my son, he's a spun out geek. I don't know anything about him. He's just he's going around, he's sleeping with whores. I'm going to get him a good job in the Ukraine with a gas company, and then he's going to do business dealings. That's it. I believe that it was absolutely nepotism that got him that job. It always is. If you have a famous parent, nepotism's just going to happen. Well, let's stop pretending like it's new. Actors have been doing it for the longest time. Mia Hawke is not a talented actress. She was good. She was half good in Stranger Things, and she hasn't done anything decent since then. I'm sorry. The Nepo baby thing is real. Jamie Lee Curtis is the most mid actress probably of our generation, and she didn't deserve that Oscar. Stephanie Sue did. Stephanie Sue deserved that Oscar. She was 10 times more gripping in Everything Everywhere All at Once than Jamie Lee Curtis. Jamie Lee Curtis has not done anything interesting in the past few years except for cry on TV shows about how emotional she is, about the fires, about just anything that happens to be relevant, Slava Ukraine, all of this kind of stuff. She is a performative mouthpiece who probably should have lost her house in the Palisades fire. I'm not even going to lie to you. Go do more ads for yogurt. That's perfectly fine by me, but don't act like you're an Oscar-worthy actress. You're not. Your mom was probably the most memorable part of the movie Psycho besides Anthony Perkins, who was the fucking little weirdo. By the way, Anthony Perkins, and I want to get this very clear, Anthony Perkins was a little punk who cheated on his wife and everybody wants to sympathize with now, but he was a little bitch who decided to still go get married, a lavender marriage, not in the sense where his wife was overly willing to have her husband sleeping around and whatnot. Ozzy Perkins watched apparently the Ed Gein show and got offended. They're like, I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole because they were honest about how my dad was a bit of a shit. And by the way, Alfred Hitchcock, he walks up to him and he goes like, you are like him. In reference, and not a lot of people, they wanted to take the offended route and immediately go, he means that he's gay, and if you're gay, you are deceiving people. That's not at all what he's saying. If you knew anything about Anthony Perkins, you would know that Anthony Perkins was a little smart. He was a little sly piece of shit who went to go sleep around with men when he had a child and a wife at home. I have no issue with this man's homosexual attitudes, and a lot of people are trying to make it that. But the big issue was that he was a man whore. He was a whore. He went around and slept around to go satisfy himself and never made anything meaningful of his life besides, he was in Psycho once, and then he was in Psycho the beginning. And then that's it. No one will remember this man for any other performance in his life. He is irrelevant. He is absolutely a parcel of nothing. Absolutely nothing in the human zeitgeist. Regardless, the laptop's contents became part of a wider federal investigation into Hunter Biden's tax compliance, foreign business activities, and a 2018 firearm purchase where he was high as a kite. He was using illegal drugs. He was enjoying the cocaine while he was buying a firearm. And if you don't know anything about firearms or buying firearms, that is a big no-no. That is an absolute, you can get federal time for that. In 2023, he was charged with tax and gun offenses after an earlier plea negotiation fell apart. In December 2024, Biden issued a full and unconditional pardon unto his son, citing compassion and a belief that prosecutions would be politicized and that Trump's DOJ would have unfairly targeted the Biden family's good name. The move was legal under the president's constitutional power, but drew sharp criticism from across the political spectrum as a breach of ethical norms since it involved a direct family member. Critics argue that the pardon undermined public trust and prevented a full legal reckoning, while supporters maintained it was a humanitarian gesture following years of scrutiny and personal struggle. Folks, that's exactly how he phrased it. That's how he wanted it to be taken by the media when this all occurred. When, we point back to older 60 Minutes interviews where he's asked by that lovely black man with the beautiful mustache, will you consider a pardon for your son? He goes, no, I will not. He just threw that out the window. He's a liar. He always has been a liar. And anybody who pretends that Joe Biden was anything but a credit card fucking shill out from Delaware who did nothing for the people in his entire career history, who claimed to be this train riding good guy who really was just the lesser of he really was just the boring go back to normal of the two options during that year. Can we just honestly admit the fact that Biden was never this genial, beautiful, worldly figure? He was never an FDR type. He seems like a decent man. He seems like he is a perfectly fine gentleman. Seems like a great father. But he's not a saint. He's far from anything grand. He's always been a crumb bum idiot who doesn't actually have any big ideas, who failed upward into his presidency, ended up becoming historically relevant because he was the first vice president to a black guy. And, that was just his propel into something bigger. And he should have just taken the leave when he got the Presidential Medal of Freedom. That should have been it. That really should have been it. Folks, look into the laptop situation yourself. It's real, it's relevant, and it's important. But, not anymore per se, because Biden's, he's going to die. And I'm guessing that his family will not be getting into politics anytime soon. And maybe that's for the good. Folks, what sin do you relish most? Wrath? How righteous. My fury is justified, my anger is pure. You wear vengeance like an armor, but it corrodes from within. You will become what you aim to destroy. Greed, how insatiable. I only want what is mine and theirs and his and yours. The more you take, the less you have. You will starve surrounded by gold. Envy, how inspiring. I see what others have and I ache to take it for myself. Your gaze lingers too long on others' light, and in time you will forget how to kindle your own. Lust, how tender. I long for touch, to feel alive again. You seek warmth in a fleeting fire. It will burn you hollow and leave you cold. Sloth, how restful. The world moves too fast. I crave stillness, and I want no part of its frenzy. Your apathy will rot your will. Even the soul needs motion, lest it wither in place. Pride, how noble. I've carved myself from stone. I will bow to no one. But even statues crack, and when you fall, no one will care to catch you. Gluttony, how delectable. The world has prepared me a vast banquet, and I would be a fool not to partake of it. And when the beast's flesh runs scarce, you would brandish your fangs against your fellow man, beast, too, that you've become. Folks, this has been your Brain on Air. Thank you so much for listening. I had a wonderful Monday with y'all. I hope that we can keep this wonderful energy going into Tuesday. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day, because I'm going to catch you here tomorrow. Same time as usual. Subscribe if you liked it. Subscribe and like if you liked it. There you go. That's a better way to put it. But in the meantime, this has been Ollie Vogt Larson with your Brain on Air. Thank you all so much for listening. Thank you for getting your news here. You really didn't have to, but I appreciate it. Bye-bye. I'll see you tomorrow.